Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me again this week. My name is Meryl Stewart. I'm the CEO of Marketing and Business Solutions. And today I thought I'd do something a little bit different than our normal weekly broadcast. I wanted to walk you through an exercise. So many of our clients have us help them with looking for prospects for their sales pipelines, but also prospecting for potential donors. And many times that means that we have to help walk their teams through some exercises to kind of think outside of the box a little bit and to really kind of dive into who else is out there that could really help us get to where we need to be. So, today I wanted to walk you through a relationships exercise that is called relationship mapping. And I'm going to actually share my screen with you so that you can see it. So, kind of the purpose behind relationship mapping is pretty basic. It's a brainstorming exercise, it's something that you can do. With your leadership teams or your staff, but it's something that we also recommend that you try to use with potential board members or maybe other advocates for your organization or for your business. And it's really a tool that helps people think outside the box a little bit, think about who they might be connected with, who they'd like to be connected with, and what those connections could mean for the business or the organization, and how you kind of cultivate that. So it's really, looking at who else do we need to know? Who else do we need to be connected with to further our mission or the business of the purpose of our business? Sorry, a little tongue twister. So part of that, the outcomes, which you should see from this, are that it gives you some steps in looking at what are the additional opportunities for engagement and connection, but also in prospecting and building your pipeline so that from a business development standpoint or a donor relations perspective, you have some additional names and connections that you can work with. So let's get into this. So I would invite you if you're, at home, you have a sheet of paper in front of you, you want to do this right now, and get started. You can follow along. This will also be, here on Facebook, so you can always refer back to it. And we post on YouTube as well. So if you follow our channel or would like to, we'll post this after today, and it'll be available if you want to replay it and think through it with your teams. So the first thing you do is you draw a circle. Put your name in the middle of that circle, and this is gonna be your personal map. Every person around the room, it's gonna look a little bit differently, but the steps are still the same. So you wanna surround your name, with kind of spokes coming out of the circle, and on those spokes, what you wanna do is put down individuals, businesses, organizations that you naturally come in contact with. You might be a part of, you might, participate in, but who are ones that you already are connected with? And write those names down on those folks. And you may have more than me, or you may have less. There's no kind of right or wrong method to this. Once you write those names down, so for me, I, put down as an example, I'm connected with, people at the gym, at school, I have a faith connection, and then I'm part of some professional organizations. So those are my kind of, every week I'm associated in some fashion with those groups. Yours may look different, and that's okay. Once you've put those down, you're going to kind of create a table or a chart that identifies that connection. So let's just say, the gym for me. And you want to be able to say what abundant resources those connections have. So, what abundant resource does my gym have or provide for me? What abundant resource does belonging to a specific professional organization provide to me? If you have a faith community, what abundant resource do I get from that? So going through my example over here, if I belong to the gym, for me, the abundant resource that's available is that there's health benefits in going, especially if I participate. But there's also camaraderie. I'm with like-minded people that care about their health, or they're trying to get in shape or find balance in some way, and that is for me a great support. For an association I may be a part of, there's professional development opportunities, there's educational opportunities. So for me, that's important so that I can continue learning and further myself on those avenues of my professional development. my church or a faith organization. For me, it helps me connect with others that have similar beliefs, but it's also an opportunity for me to get involved in my community through maybe service projects that they have. So those are important resources for me that they provide. And then my kids' school, it helps me connect with others, but it's also a support network, people to commiserate with and also to support each other as we, as a parent with other kids in classes can kind of move through that experience together. So those are just my examples. Yours may be different. That's completely fine, but you want to be able to identify those abundant resources. The next step of this is thinking about who would you add or like to be connected to that you're not currently connected with. And those should kind of be dotted lines coming out of that circle of your relationship wheel. So, mark those down on your sheet, create those dotted lines, and then be thinking about like, who do I really want to be connected with and why? And then we're going to move into the next step of this. So for me, I put down, I want to be more connected to maybe investment groups. I really want to do some statewide networking. And I want to be involved in kind of the economic development or conversations that are happening in my community because I want to know what's coming next or who might be entering my community and how I either might be a part of that or, can help support that. So once you've kind of identified who is it that you'd like to add to this network or be connected with, the next thing that you're going to do is go back to that table and you're going to add these, additional connections that you'd like to make. And you're going to identify what resources they have. Why should they be connected with you? Maybe what is it that you can provide to them or how does what they have fit into maybe your business development process or your business model or your organization's mission and growth. So for me, investment groups might help with funding for my own business. They might provide funding for clients that we have. And so it would be important for me to want to get involved with maybe a very specific one in the area that I'm in that might have an affinity for the work I'm doing or our clients. Another one would be for me is to make better connections statewide. And so that might be joining a specific networking group that has a statewide presence, but the resources that that brings to me is opportunities to share my brand across the state, obviously across a broader landscape. But it also has the chance for me to have better client connections that have a footprint maybe across the state or in a region. So I need to identify maybe some specific, name the names of those networking groups that I want to be a part of, or at least research to find out if they're the best fit for me. And then the third one I had put down was economic development. So for me, maybe it's connecting with projects that are coming, to my area, or the professionals that are already connected with those projects to see if we as a business can support them or support a portion of their project or even the business that is coming into our area. So those are three areas that I had, kind of used as an example that and the additional resources that they provide that I think are important for me to align my business with to help me grow my business and potentially generate additional client contacts as I continue to grow my brand. So hopefully you have had a chance to kind of think through that. And if not, take your time and really think through intentionally, who are those people that you'd like to be connected with. So, from that relationship mapping exercise should come the ability to name names. And it's important to name names at this point and not just say, I want to be associated with XYZ organization and, this is why. I need to contact, Joe Smith at this organization with this contact information and make a connection. Or explore the interests that they might have in, learning more about me and you learning more about them. So when I work with organizations on this exercise, they're able to, create a very specific prospect list. And I would say shoot for 3 to 5 names. If you're working with a group of people, shoot for 3 to 5 names that each person can come up with to put on that prospect list. And those prospects, are people that you should have through that relationship mapping exercise identified that they have some resource in abundance or they have a resource that you need to be connected with that they could share with you and it's worth checking into or connecting with them in order to tap into that resource. So my prospect table typically looks like this. I don't have it filled out, but you would put their name, their contact information, and then that connection point, the resource they have in abundance, or the resource that they have that you would like to be connected with, and reach out and make that connection. It may be, especially if you're on working with a nonprofit board, it may be that this exercise gleans from your board members or committee members a list of just connection points where maybe someone isn't comfortable reaching out to a relationship that they have or someone they've identified, but they're willing to make that connection. And that's okay too. But it's still important to know what is going to be the thing, the interest, that connection point, that conversation piece that is going to connect your business with something that they have or that they're interested in, that you both need to work together. That's really that relationship element. So I'd use this prospect list to help you with business development, help you with identifying additional donors. You can do it over and over again. There's no limit to how many times a year you do this. But I will say the one thing that people tend to stop doing, is that they stop using it and they actually stop following up. And so it's really a great and powerful tool to use if you actually implement it. And what I would recommend is that probably on a monthly basis, you review that prospect list or that business development pipeline and really get into the nitty gritty conversations about what needs to happen next. How do we connect with this person? How do we keep the conversation going? And then how do we follow up to make a meaningful connection for both parties? So I hope that this was helpful for you. And as I had mentioned, you can replay this and utilize it to help you and your teams. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out or leave a comment in the stream, and I will be happy to respond to it. And for additional information on us, visit www.mymabs.com. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.